first of all, go through and highlight the double E for the long E sound in each of these words. And then down the bottom we've got the ER making the long vowel sound in these ones. So go through and highlight that. Now we've also got IR and UR that can make the long vowel sound So take a look. These ones we have the in the middle of the word mostly, but usually ER is used on the end of a word. It's not very often used in the middle of a word, so it's worth remembering these few words and the others that you've already covered with the ER in the middle. Usually we'll use IR or UR in the middle of a word for the sound. Now with this long E sound, you know that you're going to only have one consonant after it because it is a long vowel sound. Do have a look here and see if you can break these words into their syllables. Now is a short vowel sound, so that's why you've got the double C after it there. So you'd be splitting that syllable between the double C. Now in succeed, you've also got the prefix change rule happening. So the prefix should be sub, but it's too hard to say subseed. So what we're allowed to do, we're allowed to change the last letter of the prefix to match the first letter of the base or root word to make it easier to say. So the B would change to a C, so we'd have succeed rather than subseed. Nothing too hard in these ones. You've got that R controlled vowel on the end there. I should have coloured that as well. Now, sometimes in some nationalities the H at the start of herb is silent, so some people will say herb and some will say herb. The correct pronunciation should be with a silent H, so it should be herb, but in Australia we typically say herb. Alright, let's go back and look at what the meanings of these words are. So a reed is a type of tall leafy grass that grows in water or in marshes. A degree, it could be the amount or level of a unit of measurement of angles, temperature or intensity, and it can also be an academic rank after a university exam or course. Now to succeed is to achieve, an aim. A pioneer is an early settler or an innovator of new ideas or techniques. A teenager is a person aged between 13 and 19 years of age. A herb or an herb are the leaves, seeds or flowers used from a plant to flavour food. An expert is a person very knowledgeable in a specific area. Pertain is related or applicable to. Observe is notice or perceive something. And prefer is to like something more than another or to choose. We went through these words yesterday, so go through and highlight the double E for the long E sound and then the ER for the long vowel sound And I forgot to tell you yesterday, but the E on the end of observe is only because English words can't end in a V, so we have to pop that E on the end. Now when you get down to this section, we want to divide the words into syllables. But first thing, go through and highlight in one colour highlighter the long vowels, then with a different colour go through and highlight the short vowels, and then take note of the consonants that are following those. So you can see here we've got a short vowel here in observe, we've got two consonants after it, so we're going to split the word between the two consonants. We're also going to have the rule of adding prefixes or suffixes to a word. So you're always going to cut a word between the prefix or suffix and the base or root word. Now pioneer is a really interesting one because you've got a long vowel sound here. So you're going to go I, so we have to cut the syllable after the long vowel sound each time. Pi-o is a long vowel sound, so we're separating that. And then near, you've got those three syllables happening. You can see it quite easily in those. You can go through and work through the rest of those. Now, here you just have to show that you know the meanings of these words by filling in the missing word in each sentence. Then down here we want you to copy the list word onto the line and use some different coloured highlighters or pencils to link them to their meanings. Combined with the list word, we're looking for common word pairs here. So use your knowledge to work out which word from above would commonly go with each of the given words. Down here we just simply want you to label each picture, and you've got to use the words from above to do that. In these verb tenses, you're just writing the base word, adding the S, adding the ing, or adding the ed for the past tense here. Now, in preferring here, you'll notice that we've doubled the R. So in a multisyllabic word where the emphasis is on the second, or the accent is on the second syllable, it indicates that you must double that letter before adding the ing. So do be aware of that. Now in this section, you have to make the list word into an adjective, then use it in a sentence. So write the word there, follow the prompts, and then use it in a sentence. Now it's worth taking note of what we're doing to this base word to change it into an adjective, because that may be something you're going to need to do a lot in your writing in the future. Now pertain to pertinent is quite an interesting change. So just copy the word there because it's a little bit tricky. Down here you have to fill in the gap with the list word extension. So think about what you're going to need to add to these base words to make them fit in the sentence correctly. And down the bottom we're making the list word into a noun, then using it in a sentence. So once again, have a look at and try to remember, what are we adding as a suffix to the end of a word to change that word into a noun, because that could be handy for you as well in the future. In this exercise we're proofreading for verb tense, because this can be quite tricky when you're writing, to make sure you're writing in the same tense for the same piece of writing. So the first one, we want all the verbs to be written in past tense. So circle the verbs written in the incorrect tense, then write them in the correct tense. So you know there's going to be 2 or 1 word per line that you're going to have to find the verb and then write it in its in the past tense, which usually means you're going to add ed unless it's an irregular verb. So Rick raced around the supermarket trying to. Okay, so you'll have to fix those up there. Now in the present tense you're generally adding s. So Ava likes to be green. She always takes her own bag. So write the verb in its correct tense on the 2 lines at the end of each sentence, because you've got 2 verbs in each sentence that need to have the tense changed. Now fill in the gaps with the helping verbs. So we've written a number of them here, am, are, be, being. You can read through those on your own. And then you have to change the verb or conjugate verb to make it make sense within the sentence. So we're going to have, let's just do the first line. The twins, Mary and Jack, are, so you've got to find a word in here, are going to visit their cousins. They will be. Now, to fly, if we're going to change that verb to make it make sense within the sentence in the correct tense, which is going to be future tense, they will be flying. So you know when you've got future tense, when you see will before the verb, they will be flying. So you're adding the ing for that future tense and also the will. So you can work your way through those.